man in charge out there today is happy with the sartorial distinctive features of both sides. Not a problem for him, might be a problem for me in terms of commentary. Don't forget, no Southend United, like the rest of our Essex sides, leaving the competition in the fourth qualifying round or previously. But we have got updates throughout the afternoon on Aveley versus Weston-super-Mare on that 3DG pitch. The pitch out here is pretty good. Nick Alliker's watching that one for BBC Essex. And we've also got Malden and Tiptree versus Wroxham from the Isthmian North with Pete Morris. The youth players and are in that rugby-style huddle just short of the centre circle. Shrewsbury are pretty much in their formation. The youth formation when they start: Goodman in goal, Greenwich, Dallison, Hall and Egbo in defence, Reid the holding midfielder, the deeper one, the sitter, Tavide, McGee and Chilvers and Fevrier further forward, Taylor leading the attack, Hornby, Jay, Hopper, Mitchell, Mingy, Kennedy, Cooper, Terry, Eon, Bien. 9 substitutes for Colchester United, who will play from right to left in this first half. But it'll be Shrewsbury who kick off and pass straight back to their goalkeeper, Marko Morosi, the Slovakian 6'4" keeper, formerly with Doncaster and Coventry, and he clatters the ball deep into the used half of the pitch. It's returned to the home custodian and in all luminous green colour. And that sticks out because it's already dark. It's getting dark. The clocks went back last week, and this is when you really notice the difference. The youth failed to defend well. Left-hand side of their penalty area. Early cross into the box and cleared away, but an unconvincing clearance, inviting pressure. Maybe they'll do better second time. Reid out to Fevrier. Fevrier dispossessed. It's Shrewsbury who make a strong start in this FA Cup tie, live on BBC Essex. But the pressure, the early pressure, comes to nothing. It'll be a goal kick to Colchester United, but it was disappointing, David, that the youths struggled to clear the lines in the way they did.
Yeah, it was one of those occasions where, you know, you wanted the ball out to be a little bit better, and then you wanted Jaden Fevrier's touch to be a little bit better, and unfortunately it wasn't, and they had to then defend that cross, and a lucky double ricochet goes Colchester United's way, and out for the goal kick, which Owen Goodman wants to take short, and eventually does out to the left back, Manny Egbo.
We're about 15 yards, 20 yards to the left of the halfway line. So we've got a good view of Joe Taylor chasing after the ball. The keeper hits it along the deck. That could have presented problems. I don't think he intended picking out his man, but he did. It fell nicely for Bayliss. Bayliss rushes forward. Tackle comes in. Well-timed tackle as well by Connor Hall, because Bayliss, the former Coventry City player, had found himself in a pocket of space.
Yeah, he hadn't. Shrewsbury think they've had the better of the start.
They have. They'll think they've had the better of the starts because they've had the better of the starts, but they find themselves offside with their next attack forward, and the ball is kind of passed into the side netting. Lots of the traffic, early doors of course, lots of the traffic early on, left to right, and that's the way Shrewsbury are playing.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Connor Hall in that challenge. He kind of went to ground and he jabbed his knee in the surface. I think it might help him out that the surface is quite soft, so you can see just on the edge of the box there, there's a divot and on the ground, and I think he's made quite a divot in that there. Hopefully that softness has allowed him not to have too much of a jarring in that left knee.
Hughes, goalkeeper Owen Goodman, launches the ball forward, comes back to Dallison. Dallison picks out Goodman again, and this time he puts it out of play for a throw-in for Shrewsbury, who take it quickly. They'll want to get this tie done and dusted in the at first round action, live on BBC Essex. Shrewsbury through Flanagan in possession, back to Morosi. Morosi, before Tavide gets there, hits it out left-footed to the far side of the pitch. Benning was the target, but it'll be a throw-in to Colchester United. Lifted forward by McGeehan, something for Fevrier to chase after. Headed away by the left-sided central defender Straha. Clipped forward again by Dallison. Bounces once and through to Morosi. Shrewsbury Town 0, Colchester United 0, FA Cup first round. I do hope that the U's can make it through to the second round. Otherwise, FA Cup wise, we'll have a blank Saturday in a few weeks' time, with the rest of our Essex sides already out as Shrewsbury build. Bayliss shoots right footed, always off target. Again, slight concern that he's got himself in a little bit of space and was able to pull the trigger, but his shot lacked the power and accuracy to trouble Goodman, goalless.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, Manny Egbo had come out of that left-back position into there. One thing I've noticed, we thought, we weren't sure whether Connor Hall and Dallison will play left or right. Dallison's playing on the left-hand side and Connor Hall is playing on the right-hand side.
I thought so. That didn't make my life easy early on, did it? So we'll try and get it right second time round as Tavida helps the ball inside, but collected in the centre of midfield by Taylor Perry. Out to the near side to Flanagan. Lots of names of players that you won't be that familiar with because they play for Shrewsbury in League One. I mention them a lot because they're having a lot of possession, although presently just outside their own penalty area, slid forward by Anderson. Chasing after it down that left-hand side. Again, this is where the problems have been coming for Colchester United. Benning in a very advanced position. Left wing back, but that time almost like left wing. Now it's important Colchester United get a little bit of time on the ball. And don't give it away cheaply, which is precisely what Manny Egbo has just done. Bennett passes it back to Anderson. Out to the left-hand side to Benning. And Shrewsbury play keep ball, and Bennett, the skipper, whips it out to the right hand side. It's a great ball to Winchester. Winchester just tried to slide the ball into the path of Jordan Shipley, couldn't find him. Relief for the U's, early stages, all Shrewsbury. McGeehan clears straight to a player in all blue, and Shrewsbury are in all blue. Bayliss, square ball, headed away by McGeehan. Colchester United Chilvers can't hold on to it, and Shrewsbury will have a chance to ease forward through Straha to Jordan Shipley, feeds it to Benning. Benning runs into trouble, tackle comes in, right hand side of the defence from Connor Hall, clears as far as Anderson, who under pressure from Taylor, I thought it was going to hit it out of play. Fevrier dribbling in the final third of the pitch, he had cover. Shrewsbury go backwards, but they're back in possession. Goalless on BBC Essex. All Shrewsbury, but Goodman hasn't had a save to make. 6.5 minutes gone. Here's Carl Winchester. Back to Flanagan. Flanagan, square ball. Inside to Anderson. He's got Straha to his right. Bennett further forward. On to Benning. Benning back to Straha. Straha involving Anderson again for Shrewsbury. 10 yards short of the halfway line. Whips it over the near side, and this time too much elevation out of play, throw into Colchester United.
Yeah, and that's what the centre half for Shrewsbury are trying to find Benning on the left and Winchester out on the right hand side. I think naturally Winchester's going to be 10-15 yards further up than Benning is going to be at any given time in the game, and as long as while it's in the air, Manny Egbo can manoeuvre from being in and alongside Tom Dallison to getting out onto into engaging Winchester. I think Colchester United are okay with that.
Tavide just fails to keep the ball in play, and it'll be a throw-in to Shrewsbury. And is that Matt Etherington barking out some instructions?
Yes, him on the edge of the technical area straight away. He has been since the start of the game, and he'll be looking at it, and already we can see it settle in. We thought maybe Cameron McGeehan would play more alongside Noah Chilvers and Arthur Reid, but at the moment he's having to sit in with Arthur Reid in that central midfield area, with Noah Chilvers playing ahead of them in a triangle.
Yeah, because it's Shrewsbury in lots of possession in the opening stages of this game, though possession doesn't kill you. It's the goals that do that. As yet, they haven't really tested Owen Goodman, as I mentioned a moment ago. This time the ball's hit forward through Udo's. Don't think he intended to let it go through his legs, and collected at his feet by Owen Goodman in all grey this afternoon, matching the very grey clouds above. as Everton score in the Brighton. Mikolenko, the Ukrainian, with the goal for Everton. Early in the lunchtime kickoff, Manchester United through Bruno Fernandes late won it in West London against Fulham. Fulham 0, Manchester United 1. A few games in the Premier League this afternoon and a whole host of FA Cup ties. Indeed, Barrow underway at lunchtime, 2-1 up last time I heard at Northampton Town. And last night, Horsham drew at Barnsley. That's some achievement. Isthmian Premier League. Horsham drawing at Barnsley, but Sheffield United did lose on the TV, on the box, 3-1 at home to Walsall. Here's Winchester down the right-hand side for Shrewsbury. Back to Flanagan. Flanagan, inside right position, trying to pick out Udo. Reid goes to ground, gets back up. He was fouled, takes the free kick quickly to McGeehan. McGeehan crosses the halfway line. Better from Colchester United. On to Chilvers, who's got Fevrier at the far post. Taylor on the penalty spot. Chilvers picks out Greenwich in an attacking position. Greenwich to McGeehan. McGeehan shoots! First shot on target, first goal. McGeehan, his third of the season, and in the FA Cup, it's Shrewsbury 0, Colchester United 1.
And he actually started that move, didn't he? Arthur Reid fouled inside the Colchester's half. Arthur Reid takes it quickly to McGeehan. He rolls it out to Noah Chilvers and then kind of just make sure he's in and around 30 yards out in case he's needed. Noah Chilvers faces up, I think it was Flanagan, decides actually no, there's two defenders there, I'll come out of it. Rolls a square ball across. McGeehan touch out of his feet and a shot to the left of the keeper Morosi, and Morosi dives to the left, can't get to it, and then nestles in that bottom corner. But you'll wonder how on earth they're behind, but they get a shot in on target and it goes in. And Shrewsbury, for all their possession in the first 10 minutes or so, haven't managed to do that, haven't tested Goodman. And Colchester United, after keeping their shape and all that possession being in front of them, and then get forward with a bit of purpose and go 1-0 up.
Said that's better, and they scored. I said loads of possession for Shrewsbury, but possession doesn't kill you. Goals do, but not possession.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what Colchester did. They kind of soaked up the possession, just let Shrewsbury play it in front of them, didn't get pulled out of shape. We talked about Manny Egbo. You didn't want him coming all the way out to Winchester before the ball was even there. You want him in alongside Tom Dallerton until it's played. And once it's played, while it's in the air, that's when your fullbacks can get out in those wide areas, similar to Will Greenwich is doing now. He doesn't want to be out there before any move starts.
Benning cross, would back by Reid, hit away by the used defender. It was probably McGeehan, who I say used defender. Shrewsbury's main threat has come down the left flank. His only threat goal-wise has come from Cameron McGeehan. How far out was the shot, David?
I'd say about 25 yards. It was.
That's decent, isn't it?
Shrewsbury probably disappointed that when the ball went to him, there was no one closing him down well enough to stop him having the touch in front. It was a great first touch. It was like he gave himself the opportunity to hit it second time if no one closed him down, and that's exactly how it transpired.
Sometimes teams are happy for the opposition to shoot from distance, but not when it's hit that well and that accurately. And Cameron McGeehan has put Colchester United in front. I think I said his third of the season. That's right, a couple of goals already. Make that 3 for Cameron McGeehan. And Matty Etherington, just before Colchester United scored the goal, he was out his technical area, he was barking out some instructions. Maybe he didn't think the start was as sharp as they might have liked. Well, if that's what he was saying, quite the response.
Absolutely, yeah. And you look at it, and for me, it was still, we got the free kick and it was taken quickly, and that allowed Cameron McGeehan to get on the ball, get forward. Then obviously that gives the opportunity for Noah Chilvers and Joe Taylor to make runs ahead of him.
Some defending for Manny Egbo to do, and he won't want to get caught in possession, and he doesn't. He slides it forward to Tavide. Desperate to get there first. Bennett does so, but puts it out of play for a throw-in for Colchester United, who 1-0 up. Hear that terrific sound of the drum, David. I know you're a big fan of the drum at football matches, but if the drum is celebrating Colchester United are in front, then it's a marvellous noise for us all.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's great for those travelling fans as they were coming across. They probably had exactly the same. I think it was raining when I left home, and it was raining when I got here. So it's a difficult journey all the way across. So they'll be pleased that the Colchester United have gone ahead.
Yeah, David and I set off separately today, made our own way here, and I think I left before him. I did. I had to nip into Chelmsford first, so it's been a long morning already for me, and the poor old dog was the casualty, because I've never ever, I don't think, not taken him out for a walk prior to a football match wherever it is across the country. So if Fred, you're listening now, the user in front through Cameron McGeehan. Fred shares the name as the same Manchester United footballer, all four parts of it. Federico Rodriguez Santos de Paula. We call him Fred. The red, the U's in yellow and blue are 1-0 up through Cameron McGeehan, and this, let me remind you, is against League One Shrewsbury Town, who may have had their problems on their travels, but they're a better side at home. Actually, they were the better side for the opening 10 minutes, and then McGeehan scored.
Yeah, and I mean, we were talking in the build up to the game about how frugal they were as a defence.
Good word, frugal.
Was it 4 goals this season?
Yeah, that was Glenn Pennyfather
at home. So it's only taken Colchester United 10 minutes to kind of get that 5th goal, and you can see already the home crowd getting a little bit frustrated about the keeper Morosi, keeping hold of it for a bit longer than they thought.
Music to our ears, just like the drum that you can hear. As Reed in the centre of midfield slips it forward to Fevrier in a very central position. He's lost possession, he's pulled his man back. Bayless carries on for the home side, he looks decent, onto Udo, right foot shot, kept up by Goodman and saved by Goodman.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good strike across the keeper. It was one that Owen would have expected to save. It was close enough to him to get onto it, and kept very, very good hold of it, because on a surface like this you're wondering whether or not it's going to zip up and everything. Samson Davide going down a little bit too easily for the referee's liking from the challenge of Flanagan. I think it looked like probably he was running into the back of Flanagan more than any foul play from the Shrewsbury centre half. But yeah, just going back to that chance for Shrewsbury came from it was good play from Colchester United, and after he found Jaden Fevrier, who drifted in from that right hand side to the centre of the pitch, and he just took too long on the ball and was crowded out by 2 players, and the referee played a good advantage to allow Shrewsbury to get forward.
And Bayless is a decent player. We've seen that at Coventry City, we've seen that at Shrewsbury, easy on the eye, just finding himself in some space, setting up the shooting chance for Udo, saved by Goodman. Now, can Davide stay onside? He can. He chases away down the left-hand side. The next part of the mission is to keep the ball in play. He succeeds in that. And then third, can he pick out a Colchester United player? He can. Egbo into the penalty area. Chilvers pulls it back. Well worked from Colchester United. Unfortunately, Chilvers couldn't find Taylor in a very promising central position. Dallison gets there first. Have the U's got a throw in? No. Bennett, the skipper for the home side, keeps the ball in play, loses out to Arthur Reed. Reed back to the goal scorer. Yep, we've had a goal on BBC Essex in the FA Cup in the 10th minute, and it's Cameron McGeehan from 25 yards out, whose shot flew past Marco Morosi, all 6 foot 4 inches of him, to put the U's in front. Quite the goal that you can see on Match of the Day this evening, as McGeehan for Colchester United invites Taylor to chase after it, but good defending by Joe Anderson, just shepherding the ball back to his keeper.
Yeah, it was, because at all times he could see over his shoulder the trajectory of the ball, and he could also see Joe Taylor's run. So it's good awareness from Anderson to know that it was going through to his keeper as long as he kept Joe Taylor away from the ball.
Shrewsbury gave the ball away cheaply. I wonder if it was still 0-0, whether Colchester United might have looked to take quick advantage of that early win back of possession, but instead passed the ball around, as Brentford score through Neil Mopey against West Ham United. Everton 1, Brighton 0, and in the lunchtime kickoff in the Premier League, Fulham 0, Manchester United 1. He's Udo for the home side. Out to the left hand side to Taylor Perry. Taylor Perry's cross easily won back by Connor Hall, who then invites the rest of the players to move 10 yards further forward.
And then that was the first occasion where maybe the wetness of the pitch and how it's just starting to cut up a bit. The ball was rolled into Arthur Reed. He went to just side foot it back to Conor Hall, and it just jumped up and hit him just under the knee and allowed Shrewsbury to get forward. So that's the first sign of that. So something else the players will have to be aware of. They'll have to really concentrate as the ball's rolling back to them, how it bounces.
19 minutes gone on BBC Essex. Shrewsbury Town 0, Colchester United 1. Bennett for the home side, crosses the halfway line, out to Winchester. Winchester returns it to Bennett. Bennett can't get past Dallison. On from Egbo. Foul by Tavide. Free kick for Shrewsbury. Update. Averley versus Western-super-Mare. Nick Alliker.
It's Western who are on top in this game. They've had the best opportunity on 15 when Pearce got through, but Averley defender Jalen Jones got back to somehow go away. Apart from that, neither keeper has been troubled. Long injury delay at the start with a clash of heads. Kieran Thomas, the visiting defender, had to go off. It's 0-0.
0-0 there, 1-0 here to Colchester United. But pulling the strings in midfield was Jordan Shipley, trying to open up the used defence. Failed to do so. Throw in for Colchester United, far side of the pitch, on line with their own penalty area. Playing in yellow shirts, blue shorts and white socks, and leading through that. It was a lovely goal by Cameron McGeehan, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a great finish, and he did everything right in terms of when the ball came to him. He opened his body up. His first touch was in front of him, so if the opportunity came to get the shot away and he wasn't closed down, he was in a perfect position to do it. But still great technique to get the power and accuracy to it down to Morosi's left-hand side.
Vivid description there of the goal from David Gregory and the technicalities involved, and that's because he works A, for the media department at Colchester United, and B, because he played 250 times for Colchester United and scored a fair number of stunning goals himself. You didn't get a late equaliser at Brentford in the FA Cup, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, there you go, that's a highlight.
Yeah, and then I think in the next round we played Hereford in the home game. I think I opened the scoring, if I remember rightly, and unfortunately that went to a penalty shootout, and we came away from Edgar Street on the end of losing that penalty shoot.
Well, I remember that late goal at Brentford, and Udo's won a corner kick for Shrewsbury, far side of the pitch. Since Colchester United have scored, Shrewsbury lost a little bit of their early quality, their early brightness. That's how important goals are. I say that because it's important for that very reason.
They've also had their one good shot on target that Owen Goodman had to dive to the right to save, so maybe that possession isn't quite as important as getting the ball forward and getting shots and chances away.
It does show, and from set pieces all sides are dangerous and all defences are vulnerable. Shrewsbury have a set piece. It's a corner kick, far side of the pitch, taken to Shipley, edge of the penalty area, takes the deflection, back 1-1. Shipley put in the cross and Udo got the last touch. Somewhat fortuitous, but Shrewsbury Town 1, Colchester United 1.
Yeah, I mean, it was a training ground move, well worked. I think the shot itself, it was scuffed. It wasn't going on target. I don't think it would have troubled Owen Goodman at all. But Udo, I think it was got a little flick to it, and I think and then took it by Owen Goodman. No chance at all for the Colchester United keeper, and a little bit fortunate for the home side. But they'll feel that they've got forward, and when a training ground move comes off in the end, they'll see that as a real win for them.
We said, didn't we? All sides are a threat from set pieces. All sides are vulnerable from set pieces. And the shot wasn't hit well. Udo, I'm not sure how much. Quite often when you see the replay, you realise he really intended that. But I think what was disappointing is that the U's didn't pick up Shipley at all at the edge of the penalty area from the initially short taken corner.
No, it's probably one of those ones where you've got everyone in the box and thinking if it goes out to him, we'll go out to him. He's got to shoot through a lot of bodies. I'm still maintaining it wasn't how he expected the contact to go. It wasn't the sort of shot he was expecting to get away, and fortunately for him, Udo was on the ball. I think it was a deliberate flick from the Shrewsbury striker, and he knew what he was doing when it did come to him as Noah Chilvers. It's fouled by Bayliss. I think
Gets
Bayliss
yellow carded for that.
Yeah, I think there was enough of the ball for Bayliss to be disappointed with a free kick, never mind the yellow card.
Well, earlier Jaden Fevrier should have been yellow carded for an even more obvious offence, but Bayliss stayed on his feet on that occasion, and referee played on and then never did book Jaden Fevrier. I say that, never did book Jaden Fevrier, because if he's booking Tom Bayliss for that, he's setting the bar fairly low.
He is, especially as the surface gets wetter and wetter. There's going to be some challenges that come in that the referees really has got to try hard to interpret, as whether there was any malice in them or it was just players slipping over into challenges.
In the FA Cup, live from Crowd Meadow, Shrewsbury Town 1, Colchester United 1. Udo cancelling out McGeehan's opener, but the U's have a set piece of their own. Chilvers leaves it for Reid, who slants into the penalty area, and a header goalwards. Comfortable collect in the end for Morosi.
Yeah, a couple of half-hearted Colchester United appeals that Morosi had taken it back behind the line, but he caught it in front of the crossbar and then came down, and even from here he looked very, very secure in his handling, and it hadn't gone over. But a good free kick into that far post area. And like you, it's hard to tell whether it was Connor Hall or Tom Dalton at the far post when they're not facing us, and it's one of those ones where there's too many bodies there to see exactly who it was.
I was waiting to see who you thought was going to be the header, so I could duly take note. That is Connor Hall clearing it right-footed, but it comes back to the goal scorer Udo outside the Colchester United penalty area. Finds his skipper Bennett. Bennett picks out Bayliss. Bayliss onto Winchester. Shrewsbury, having got back on level terms, threaten the go-ahead goal. Important defending for the U's to do. Flanagan does well, earns himself a yard of space just outside the box, and the U's through McGeehan lifted towards the halfway line, but Joe Taylor just at the moment looking a little bit isolated.
Yeah, I think Joe Taylor's made a great decision there to go long, because it looked like McGeehan had enough time to look up and then hit the ball into the 30 yards of space the other side of the halfway line for Joe Taylor to run into. He's tried a delicate little clip into Joe Taylor's feet, but Joe already turned and was looking for the ball in behind.
Pete Morris, hold your horses. I know there's an update in the game between Malden and Tiptree and Wroxham from the Isthmian North, but the U's, having been pegged back from a corner kick, have a throw-in. It looks a foul throw. It is a foul throw. The U's will have their turn, and Pete Morris will have his. Malden Tiptree versus Wroxham.
It's goalless. It was an unremarkable start, but in the last 5 or 6 minutes, Malden and Tiptree have strung together a string of decent chances. Milton Oney, the former Colchester United under-21 in the centre midfield, he's running the show a little bit. A lovely 1-2 with Egbury, and then a short-range shot cleared off the line. Oney himself had a shot in from distance, 25 yards out. That one tipped over the bar. A string of right-sided corners from Louis Remy, causing problems for the Wroxham keeper, and from one of those, Matt Yates with a shot just turned wide as well. Nothing too much to worry Luca Collins at the other end, other than a low sun. Still goalless here, Malden and Tiptree versus Wroxham.
And in the FA Cup, after the bright start, Whitby Town, who knocked out Chelmsford City after a replay, 3-1 down against the Gas. That's Bristol Rovers. And we're in Shropshire on the English-Welsh border on BBC Essex this afternoon for live match commentary on the FA Cup first round. And it's Shrewsbury 1, Colchester United 1. Benning for the home side to Bayliss. Unlock the U's defence, cross towards the far post, overhit. And can Colchester United bring it away to purposeful effect? They're certainly endeavouring to do so. Decent pass onto Tavide by Egbo, and the referee says no foul on Tavide, and I think that was.
No, I'm saying Tavide, he's past Flanagan. He's going into lots of space behind him. I'm not sure that there's any contact there. I think.
Why go down then?
That's what we've got to ask. That's what we've got to educate Samson Tavide is. If there's contact and it isn't advantageous to stay on your feet and try and carry on the play, then you have to go down. There's no choice. But I mean, you're looking at it and thinking that on that occasion, I think Samson's just got to be stronger in his demeanour and shrug off, what he thinks is a touch or not a touch, and then carry on, because he's in behind Flanagan. Flanagan's never going to be able to turn and catch him up there.
And a yellow card for a U's player far side of the pitch, David.
Yeah, I think it was Will Greenwich, wasn't it, for the challenge, which, if Bayliss picked up a yellow card, it certainly was a yellow card offence for that tackle.
think we've got a few yellow cards to come in this game. I was worried about the yellow card for Tom Bayliss, but then I was surprised. But then I thought, well, why would Samson Tavide in a promising position go down? And David said, that's the question. 1-1 on BBC Essex between Shrewsbury Town and Colchester United. The U's have a throw-in 20 yards short of the halfway line. It'll be taken by Manny Egbo in the left back position. Short to Reed, gets it back, can't return it to Reed, and Shrewsbury have a throw-in as a consequence. And the U's have to backpedal, just leaving Joe Taylor further forward. The other most advanced player, Jaden Fevrier. Everyone else in defensive duties, and Fevrier is fairly deep as well. He's on the right-hand side. Flanagan switching it over to the left to Benning. Benning, square ball inside to Perry. Perry for the home side, tracks forward. Back to Benning on that left-hand side, now involving Strahar. Patience, and taking a little bit more time now at Shrewsbury, because they've got themselves back on level terms. He's Winchester, onside, goes down, and that's Reed who nips in with the challenge. I thought he was fouled. Referee says play on. Bayliss for the home side. Nice ball inside. Chilvers alert to the danger. And Chilvers finds Greenwich. Greenwich out to Fevrier. Fevrier up against Strahar. Far side of the pitch. On line with David and myself. Gets past Sarah. Does Fevrier. Carries on with his run. Maybe should have passed after initially evading the challenge of Strahar.
Yeah, he has it. He's another young player. We talk about, you know, different things that Samson Tavide needs to be learning and educate himself on that occasion. Fevrier, he's done the hard work. Strahar's gone to ground in the challenge he's got by him. That's when your head's got to be up and what you do next time round.
Greenwich lifts the ball forward, goes to ground, gets a throw-in for Colchester United. About 10 yards away from the penalty area, far side of the pitch. The U's attacking the goal to our right. Greenwich gets it back, tries to return it to Chilvers, gets the weight of the pass wrong. Udo, who got the equaliser, leading things up front for Shipley, whose cross come pass. He touched on, throwing for the U's. Home fans won't like that. No. Far side of the pitch, hard for me to say.
Yeah, I'm saying it was right. I think the assistant was looking to the referee to see what he thought of it. And I think the assistant over that side got it spot on. I think it was a throw into Colchester United.
You're listening to BBC Essex 103.5 and 95.3 FM, digital and free view, and because it's the FA Cup, BBC Sounds, where you'll hear about a goal for Malden and a goal at Malden and Tiptree in just a moment. But we'll see if Shrewsbury can cause Colchester United any more problems, having leveled things up. He's Benning down the left-hand side to Shipley, who has an assist. Back to Benning, into the penalty area, overruns it. Pity from a home perspective. Good news for us for all kinds of reasons, because we can hear about that goal between Malden and Tiptree and Wrexham.
Wide.
Go on, Pete, what's happened?
We're 1-0 up here. Just watching Milton Only with another shot just wide of the goal there. 1-0 then to Malden and Tiptree. Coming on a half-hour mark. Matt Yates sent away down the right-hand side with a deft flick. He absolutely got his skates on to get down towards the corner flag and drive in a low cross. Missed by everyone at the near post, but at the far post, Louis Britton. He scored 3 last week, and he was right on hand to put that one in this week. Malton and Tiptree 1, Wroxham 0.
I love that part. We're 1-0 up. That's Malden and Tiptree. Swindon 3-0 down at home to National League opposition Aldershot Town. Swindon come to the JobServe Community Stadium on Tuesday. Get your tickets for that rearranged game. Although the weather might be somewhat similar. Seems very wet just at the moment, doesn't it? Oh, West Ham have come from behind and now lead against Brentford in the Premier League by 2-1. Malden and Tiptree 1, Wroxham 0, Averley 0, Weston Superburn 0. Far side of the pitch, it's Perry for the home side. Crosses left-footed. His cross is blocked up effectively for a corner by Greenwich, but the U's conceded from a corner not that long ago.
Yeah, they did, and they concede the corner, but it's because they conceded possession. 30 yards from their goal line, Will Greenwich trying to roll the ball forward, misses his man. Shrewsbury get on the attack, and yes, he's got back, and yes, he's made up for it a little bit, but gives the opportunity for that corner to be taken. And Colchester still won't be able to mark every player that's in and around the box because of players they've got in the box to make sure their numbers are covered in there.
If they do go short, Bayliss will be the target. They don't, they go right-footed towards the 6-yard box, headed up in the air and away. Bayliss with the effort, sort of difficult skill, that one. Ball coming down, might have even come off his shin, and out of play for a goal kick. Shrewsbury Town 1, Colchester United 1 in the FA Cup.
Yeah, it was an awkward shot to get away on the volley. It was coming across his body, and he looked like he went with the wrong foot. I think it was coming across his body from the right hand side. So I think he maybe should have just opened it and gone left-footed, but he's decided to go early on it, and it's a really tough skill, and no surprise that it flew wide.
Yeah, Bayliss came through the youth setup at the Ricoh Stadium, Coventry City. Very good mates with Ben Stevens and similar sort of players, David.
Yeah, absolutely, and you want those kind of players on the ball as much as you
like
can.
Arthur Reed for Colchester United.
Absolutely, yeah, and a couple of the Colchester players then asking the referee about it, but also saying to Sampson, I think Sampson's one problem is he's so engaged in the physical battle with the defender. Sometimes he's just got to look at the ball, see where that's going, and go for the ball.
Schlupp scores for Palace against Burnley at Turf Moor. 1-1 here in the centre of midfield. Reed to McGeehan. McGeehan just about gets the ball out of his feet before he's tackled. Dallison for Colchester United. Forward to Reed. Don't want to lose possession here. You've heard me say that before. Back to Owen Goodman. Out to Greenwich in the right back position where you'd expect him to be. Whips it forward where I like the ball to go, because just don't like seeing players get tackled in the final third of the pitch. 1-1.
No, absolutely, and that's sometimes the issue. You pass it around at the back, and sometimes it's a case of are you passing it for a reason, or are you just passing it to pass on responsibility for not looking for a ball further up the pitch. I think that has to be the fine line that you've got to make sure you fall the right side of, and because sometimes I think it's easier to go for a ball forward early than having 2 or 3 passes further.
Fevrier tries to win it back for Colchester United and does so. Gets past one challenge, then races forward down the right hand side. Great work by Jayden Fevrier. Hurdles the challenge. He's got Taylor and Tavide inside the penalty area. Doesn't get the ball in.
No, he did
really well up to that point.
It was good defending from the second defender. I think it was Anson that had gone across after Jayden Fevrier had got the better of. I think it was Bennett who was over there initially. That he got past, went in for a sliding tackle and didn't get to the ball. So Fevrier then was attacking the next defender, and Colchester United get the throw in.
Chilvers out to McGeehan, far side of the pitch. McGeehan again decides to go backwards to Chilvers, who lifts it over the top. I think Shrewsbury want offside. Do they want the ball out of play?
No, I think Jayden Fevrier was starting from an offside position and didn't quite get that. As he went for a run initially that took him almost to the goal line, and then the ball goes back. He's just a little bit slow in coming back into an onside position.
Doku and Silva score quickly for Manchester City. 2-0 up against AFC Bournemouth. Brentford 1, West Ham 2. Lunchtime kickoff. Fulham 0, Manchester United 1. Everton lead against Brighton. Palace are 1-0 up against Burnley. And if there's something really exciting and interesting in the FA Cup other than this one, because it's massively exciting and interesting, I'll let you know. 1-1 here. Colchester now having led. Unconvincing clearance that time by Connor Hall. Does better second time round. Volleys it forward to Joe Taylor. Taylor tried to combine with Noah Chilvers, just failed to do so. Ploughing a lone furrow at times up front. I want to ask David about how Samson Tavide is getting on the wide out on the left hand side, but he's Bayliss for the home side into Udo, who got the equaliser. Udo, he's back to goal, falls over. Flanagan tries to find Udo again. Well done, Noah Chilvers. Good bit of skill, dug out and cleared away by Samson Tavide. What are you making of him in this wide position rather than joining Taylor up front or leading the attack himself?
I think he's had opportunities to get on the ball a bit more than he has done, and then same as Jaden Fevier on the other side. Jaden's had it a little bit better in terms of being with the ball in front of him, running at defenders. I think he's been a little bit better on.
Udo's onside, right hand side of the Colchester United penalty area, drives in his cross, won't get past Connor Hall, and it's the referee's given a free kick in a promising position for Shrewsbury. But I reckon the old pro Nick Gallagher can give us a quick update. Aveley versus Weston-super-Mare before this free kick's taken.
Still 0-0. It's been really scrappy from the home side, but they have had their first chance on 35 minutes when Dada got it forward. Hernandez, though, couldn't convert. Still goalless at Parkside.
Surprise in the FA Cup. Scarborough 1-0 up against Forest Green Rovers. Though until 5 years ago or so, Forest Green Rovers were very much creating those kind of surprises. And Scarborough used to be in the Football League. 6 minutes to go to half-time. Shrewsbury Town 1, Colchester United 1. Free kick for Shrewsbury, drifted to the edge of the used penalty area. Headed away and collected by Mal Benning, far side of the pitch. Left foot cross, takes a deflection at the far post, waiting for it, but it didn't reach him, was Joe Anderson, and the U's hit it towards the halfway line. Shrewsbury were knocked back by that opening goal from Colchester United's Cameron McGeehan, but once they got back on level terms, they've had the edge since.
Yeah, they have done, and they eventually ground it back to the phase of play we saw in the first few minutes of getting on the ball, moving it around, and then trying to spread it into those wide areas. Winchester and Benning getting on the ball in the wide areas, and they've been pretty decent at that. But since the goal, Owen Goodman hasn't been tested at all with the chance.
Goal at Aveley, Nick Gallagher.
And it's come for the home side. They were really poor in the first 30 odd minutes, but on 40 they convert with Ibby from close range on his debut. It's 1-0 Aveley.
It's all about goals, Nick, all about goals. We've had two here, one for Shrewsbury, one for Colchester United, one for Aveley, a goal up against Weston-super-Mare, one for Malden and Tiptree, leading against Wroxham. Offside flag goes up for Danny Udo. Is it Danny Udo? Dan Udo for Shrewsbury Town. Either way, it's orange and green luminous flag gone up. Free kick for Colchester United, whose fans, the away following, continue to make most of the noise around the crowd meadow.
Yeah, they have. I think the home fans are patiently waiting for something to really ignite for the home side, like we said, but they've had the possession and territorial advantage in the middle third of the pitch, but in the top end of the pitch they'll probably be disappointed with how little they've really opened up the Colchester United defence.
The U's go long through Dallison, over exit, straight through to the home keeper, Marco Morosi, beaten on 10 minutes by Conor McGeehan, but that goal cancelled out when Jordan Shipley's shot, is that what it was diverted goalwards and beyond Goodman by Dan Udo to make it 1-1. Hit forward through the middle by Morosi, brought down on his chest by Chilvers. Greenwich in the right of defence. Back to Hall, who floated out to the near side. I think that's what he intended. To Egbo, that's dangerous. Egbo to Reid, who's engulfed by three players. But he's smart and he's quick and he gets it away. Nodded back into the use half by Anderson. Brought down by Winchester. I think he's over-egged it. And the U's goalkeeper Owen Goodman should get there first. And he does. Rolls it down. Rolls it out in the... just in front of the defence of McGeehan. Tackled on Egbo. Udo to his left to Perry. Perry hits a shot, and the shot's blocked off by Connor Hall. And it may go out to a corner kick. And Shrewsbury will let the ball go out for a corner, because that's when they've had their joy in the first half. That's how they got their equaliser. Taken short to Shipley, and his shot diverted past the U's goalkeeper Goodman by Udo. So the U's have to be alert to the short taken corner, but also to the ball swirling into the 6-yard box.
Absolutely, but before then they've got to be alert to when they've got the ball, can they keep it better, give possession away, and very quickly Shrewsbury transfer the ball from the right hand side to the centre of the pitch and get the shot away.
Corner kick, food and drink, comfortable catch and collect for the Hughes goalkeeper Owen Goodman, who wanted to distribute quickly but never really had a choice. Throws it to the feet of Tavide. Square pass inside to Chilvers, but the Hughes still in their final third of the pitch. Eggball to his right to McGeehan. McGeehan out to the right. Reed is in a very advanced position further forward for Colchester United. David, is that tactically significant?
No, I think just the fact that Cameron McGeehan and Noah Chilvers have dropped off to get the ball a little bit deeper, that's just sensible play. We don't need all three of them in that deep area, and as you can see now, Arthur Reed is deeper than Noah Chilvers, but only because Cameron McGeehan will go, the two centre halves will split and Cameron McGeehan will go into that area between them to try and set the moves going. And unfortunately for Colchester United, Shrewsbury have been very, very good at closing Colchester down, and yes, on occasions I've been critical of us not keeping the ball well enough, but you have to credit the opposition sometimes with the fact that they are doing very well to close things down.
And they are a League One side, as Chilvers does ever so well to shrug off one challenge, but then Elliot Bennett, seasoned pro, wins it back, gets body between man and ball, draws the contact, wins a free kick for Shrewsbury, and a little bit of brightness is vanquished by that defending by Bennett.
Yeah, it was. He did really well because it was a decent play by the three in the triangle in midfield, Reed, McGeehan and Chilvers to get the latter away, but unfortunately in the end Bennett did enough. His pace took him ahead of Chilvers and got on the ball.
1-1 on BBC Essex. Dallison just to his right, to his fellow central defender and skipper Connor Hall, who opts to involve goalkeeper Goodman. Out to the right hand side to Greenwich. Greenwich back to Hall, left foots the ball forward. Taylor 10 yards behind his man. He's had so little service in the first half as Joe Taylor.
Yeah, he has, but my worry is that he's playing up there a little bit isolated against the three centre halves. That should mean there's Colchester players elsewhere that are in space.
Nicely worked by Colchester United. Indeed, Tavide wanted Reed to pass through to him as Taylor tries to get between defender and goalkeeper. Morosi always favoured. It was a nicely worked move, and Tavide timed his move well, but the pass didn't come.
No, but you've got to keep making those runs and keep thinking that ball can come. If it's the right run to make, then make it. That's what Joe Taylor's got to be. He's got to be patient. You can see him getting a little bit frustrated about that he's on his own against those three and he's finding it hard to get on the ball. But he's just got to be patient, and there'll be times when he gets that support that he needs.
2 minutes of stoppage time. We're playing now on BBC Essex, and in the first minute of stoppage time the Hughes will have another corner to defend, but this time from the right rather than the left.
Yeah, the low cross came in the near post. It wasn't a great cross. He didn't get great contact on it, and I'm not sure if it was Winchester or Bayliss coming out onto the right hand side, but Tom Dallison went with his right foot to clear it out for a throw in. Just came off his heel a little bit and out for a corner, and one that Colchester United will probably they've got a minute to go, so this could well be the last chance for Shrewsbury in this first half, so Colchester United will have to be focused and concentrated in their defending.
Bayliss will take the corner for the home side, drawing 1-1 with Colchester United in the FA Cup. Right foot in the penalty area, won by a man in blue, but he can't keep his head down and his tail's high over the bar. Flanagan with the effort.
Yeah, it was, and there's plenty of bodies in there, so Colchester United were close enough to him to make it hard. Yes, he won the header, but it was also looked like he was stretching for it, and that makes it ever so difficult to get it down and on target. And it flew safely over the bar and into the end where Colchester United fans are housed.
It's 1-1, David. What have you made of the first half performance from the Hughes?
I think it's been disciplined in terms of them trying to keep their shape when Shrewsbury have got the ball. I think the main times that Shrewsbury have caused them problems, obviously from a set piece, but I think before then it's the way Colchester have given the ball away when maybe they should be a little bit more careful with it. Was it a bit harsh on me because Shrewsbury have closed us down really well, but I think the players out there can be better in possession than we have been.
Scott Marshall said that last week in the 1-0 win against Accrington. They could have looked after the ball better and they would have invited so much pressure as it is. They kept a clean sheet and won by a goal to nil. Not this afternoon. McGeehan put them in front, 25-yard shot, only for the home side to equalise through Dan Udo. We're into the second. We're beyond the second minute of stoppage time, so the referee will bring to an end the flickering moments of this first half in just a moment. And that's it. Referee blows his whistle for half-time in his FA Cup first round tie between Shrewsbury Town and Colchester United. And at the break, David Gregory, it's the Shrews won, the U's won.
Yeah, and like we were just talking about, we've defended fairly well. Just those little bits and pieces, you have to be careful of. And I think that the goal's a little bit unfortunate because the shot comes in, there's plenty of bodies there, and then just a clever flick from a missed hit shot goes in the corner. But other than that, I think Owen Goodman's had one really good saver that he's made down to his right-hand side. But I think Shrewsbury feel that they've done enough to be ahead of the game. But I think Colchester United will feel that 1-0's about right.
And what does Matty Etherington do at half-time? 1-1. He'd bite your hand off right now, wouldn't he, if you offered him a replay?
Not yet. I think if we can't go on in the second half and get a winner, I think
it's all very well saying this until they lose.
And then you're hoping that if you can't win, let's take them back to Colchester and get the job done over there. But I think he'll be going out, and I think if Colchester are more careful in possession and can get the ball further up the pitch while being careful with it, I think there's no reason why we can't test the defence, because I don't think we have done it at all. The shot came from well outside their penalty area, so the defence will feel, that's the midfield that should have been closing down.
Yeah, thanks, David. You can't complain too much about the scoreline, because Shrewsbury have certainly had more of the game and posed more of the threat. But it was a delightful goal that was scored by Conor McGeehan in 10 minutes, and there was a fair slice of luck with the equaliser. Corner taken short to Jordan Shipley at the edge of the penalty area, and his shot into the box was diverted home or hit Dan Udo. Either way, it's 1-1, and overall Shrewsbury deserve to be on level terms. But everything to play for in the second half of this FA Cup first round tie, live on BBC Essex. We're at the break. It's Shrewsbury Town 1, Colchester United 1.
Well, we'll be back with David and Neil for the second half commentary, but with the time now coming up at 9 minutes to 4, let's get the latest on the roads with Tom.
Thanks, Glenn. And in Epping Forest, it's slow on Woodridden Hill between Wake Arms roundabout and the M25 junction 26, means a travel time of about 10 minutes through there. In West Thurrock, it's heavier than usual on the A126 around Lancaster roundabouts. In Brentwood, there are queues on Ongar Road heading south around William Hunter Way. And finally on the roads for now, in Colchester, there are queues on the A133 Colbank Avenue going east around Westway. So not looking too bad at the moment, but if you know otherwise, you can call us on 0800 111 40 41 and we'll tell the rest of Essex. On public transport then, there's buses in for trains on Greater Anglia between Shenfield and Southend Victoria, and between Wickford and Southminster, also on C2C between Upminster and Pitsea, and on cross country between Cambridge and Stansted Airport. All of those buses in for trains are because of weekend engineering works. That's the latest BBC Essex travel. There'll be more at full time.
Celebrate Guy Fawkes Night this weekend with BBC Essex. Tonight, presenters John Leach and Matt Mackay will be at Promenade Park in Malden. Gates open at 5:30 and the display begins at 7:30. On Sunday the 5th, Sonia Watson and Ben Fryer will be at the Basildon Sporting Village. Gates open at 4 and the fireworks begin at 6:30. Celebrate Guy Fawkes Night this weekend with BBC Essex.
Well, U's fans, 1-1 at half-time. Cameron McGeehan getting the go-ahead goal for the U's, just pegged back by that scrappy goal by the sounds of it, on a description from Udo. Up front, it sounds like the drum is making the most noise as well there for poor old Neil and David, sat quite near that drum. If I know David well, he'll go and get it and have a bang at it himself, I'm surely. But I want to let us know, U's fans, I want to hear from you. What did you think of that first half? What are you making from that? Don't forget, plenty of ways to get in touch. You can give us a text on 81333. Remember to start your message with the word Essex. You can also message us on WhatsApp 08000 321 333. And again, start your message with the word Essex. Or you can get in touch on the emails. The emails are open, essex.sport at bbc.co.uk, or if you prefer, on the social medias at BBC Essex Sport. Let us know what you thought of that first half from your side, and Cameron McGeehan's opening goal, and obviously being pegged back by that equaliser from Udo. Let us know what you think. But let's get off to our non-league featured game, shall we? And Nick Alliker has been watching Canvey Island against Chatham Town.
Actually, I've been watching Aveley against Weston-super-Mare in the National South. Canvey was called off earlier today. I'll get you out of that one, don't you concern yourself. The 3G pitch has come up trumps here, but it was really, really scrappy in the first half an hour as far as Danny Scopes' side. Nothing really worked, nothing came off, and the opposition goalkeeper had his feet up, young Harry Lee. That said, just before the interval, all good strikers know that there's only one thing about this game, and it's scoring, and that's exactly what Sidney Ibe did on his debut for the hosts, having signed on loan earlier today from Dagenham Redbridge. He was in the right place at the right time after Jalen Jones flicked on inside the area. Ibe was there to knock in from close range. Weston had the best opportunity before that. That was pierced through, and Jalen Jones at the other end, the defender got back to somehow hook clear. There was a long delay right at the beginning of the fixture. Within 20 seconds of the kick-off, Vaz for Aveley and Thomas for Weston clashed heads. Ultimately, it led to Kieran Thomas going off in the opening minute of this. Vaz has continued with a headband. Aveley with their noses in front. It hasn't been pretty to watch, but Danny Scopes, we happy with the scoreline? Will need an improved performance though in the second period. 1-0 Aveley in front.
We'll be back with Nick through the second half for updates. My apologies there, Nick. Obviously, you know you can't get the staff, you know that. And of course, Nick is at Aveley, not at Canvey Island. That got called off for a waterlogged pitch earlier in the day. But Sidney Ibe there getting a debut goal for Aveley to give them the lead at half time. Well, last we heard, Malden and Tiptree were also leading 1-0 against Wroxham. And Pete Morris has the half time details for us.
And that is the half-time score. The goal coming on 30 minutes. Louis Remy flick into acres of space down the Malden and Tiptree right-hand side for the fullback Matt Yates to run at full pace. Just managed to pick up the ball and put in a low cross. Beaten by everyone at the near post. And Louis Britton hanging around at the far post to tap in from short distance. He scored a hat-trick last week. He's properly on form at the moment. Why did that space appear? Well, it had been an unremarkable game for the first 25 minutes, but then the two wide players for Malden and Tiptree swapped over. So we had what we now call reverse wingers, and it was Remy turning inside, creating that space for Yates to run into. It's caused all sorts of chaos for Wroxham, and the last 15 minutes or so they were rather on the racks. The man running it was Milton Oney, former Colchester United under-21 player in the central midfield. He reads the game well. Lots of interceptions and also a couple of shots for himself as well. One tipped over the crossbar and one shot just wide. At the moment it's all one-way traffic for the home side. Malden and Tiptree 1, Wroxham 0.
Thanks very much, Pete. And we'll be across both those games in the second half with Nick at Aveley and Peter Morris at Malden and Tiptree, both sides winning 1-0 at half-time. And don't forget, we want to hear from you. Give you the contact details. Is 81333 on the text. Remember, start your message with the word Essex. On the WhatsApps, 08000 321 333. Remember, start your message with the word Essex again. If you want to get involved on the emails, it's essex.sport@bbc.co.uk, or if you want to go on the socials, at BBC Essex Sport. And don't forget, you can also get in touch at the end of the programme in the last hour. I'd love to hear from you on the phones. It's 0800 111 40 41 in the last hour of the show. Well, somebody that has got in touch, who's dropped us a message, is obviously Mick the Pundit, Mick in Colchester. Apologies for that, Mick. We missed that right at the start. And he said he was interested in Nick Alliker's report at Aveley that they had lost a couple of players. Is there no transfer window, and what are the rules for non-league clubs? Well, the rule is there is no transfer window, Mick. That's the fact of it all. There's no transfer window for non-league clubs, so they're allowed freedom of movement for players as and when they choose. So consequently, obviously, Aveley have done that after losing obviously two really strong players for them in Matt Rush and John Benton recently. They've managed to pick up a couple, and one of those is Sidney Ibe today, who's got the go-ahead goal for him on his debut. Well, let's get you up to date with the half-time, shall we? And let's start in the Premier League, and it is Brentford 1, West Ham United 2 at half-time. Brentford took the lead with Neil Malpai, and West Ham scored with, I think it was Jarrod Bowen got the second one. It was Mohamed Kudus with the first one. And it is Burnley 0, Crystal Palace 1. Jeffrey Schlupp with the goal for Palace there. Everton 1, Brighton 0. Mikalenko getting the goal for Everton. Manchester City 3, Bournemouth 0, 2 for Dooku there, and 1 for Bernardo Silva. And at the moment it is Sheffield United 0, Wolves 0. In the Championship, Birmingham 1, Ipswich 0. Ipswich looking to catch up in second place there at the moment, 1-0 down at Birmingham. Bristol City 0, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Sheffield Wednesday have had a player sent off in the first half. It's Huddersfield 0, Watford 0, Millwall 0, Southampton 0. Plymouth 2, Middlesbrough 1. Middlesbrough took the lead there. Plymouth have turned that around in the first half. It is Preston 2, Coventry 1. Rotherham 0, Queen's Park Rangers 0. Stoke City 0, Cardiff 0. Swansea 0, Sunderland 0, and Swansea have had a player sent off in the first period. And it is West Bromwich Albion 1, Hull 1. Let's run you through the FA Cup half times. AFC Wimbledon 2, Cheltenham 0. Alfrington 0, Worthing 0. Bolton 1, Solihull Moors 0. Bradford City 0, Wycombe Wanderers 2. Bristol Rovers 4, Whitby Town, conquerors of Chelmsford in the last round 1. Cambridge United 1, Bracknell 0. Chesham 0, Maidstone 1. Chester 0, York City 0. Curzon Ashton 0, Barnet 1. Doncaster Rovers 1, Accrington Stanley 0. It is Eastleigh 3, Boreham Wood 1. Exeter 0, Wigan 0. Hereford 0, Gillingham 1. Leyton Orient 1, Carlisle 0. Lincoln 1, Morecambe 1. Marine 1, who'd pegged back Harrogate, and now 2-1 down to Harrogate. Newport 1, Oldham 0. Notts County 1, Crawley 1. Oxford United 1, Maidenhead 0. Peterborough 0, Salford 1. Port Vale 0, Burton 0. Port Vale have had a man sent off in the opening half as well. Ramsgate 1, Woking 1. Reading 1, MK Dons 1. And probably one of the shocks at the moment, Scarborough of the National League North 1, Forest Green Rovers of League 2 0. We know all about Shrewsbury 1, Colchester United 1. Stevenage 1, Tranmere 1, with Luke Norris, ex-Colchester United, getting the equaliser for Tranmere in that game. Stockport County 2, Worksop 1. Sutton United 0, AFC Fylde 1. And here's probably the biggest shock at the moment. Swindon 0, Aldershot 4. Aldershot were 3-0 up inside the opening 18 minutes. And Yeovil, conquerors of Southend United in the last round 2. Gateshead 1. So there's a shock going on there with Yeovil as well. Let's take you to the National League South, shall we? And we know Aveley 1, Weston-super-Mare 1, Braintree Town 1, Haverton Waterlooville 1. And at the moment it is Tunbridge 1 who took the lead, Chelmsford 1. Chelmsford have pegged Tunbridge back, and Tunbridge have had a player sent off in that game. Let's see if we can get you the rest of the half times coming up in the National League. And I know there's one game going on in the National League, and currently it is Dorking 1, Dagenham Redbridge 2. In the Isthmian Premier League, Billericay Town are leading Bognor Regis 1-0 at half-time, with Adi Aziz with the goal after 35 minutes. Hashtag United 1, Hastings United 1. I know Hashtag went 1-0 behind in that game. Concord Rangers game is off away at Kingstone, and that got postponed earlier today. Basildon United 0, Redbridge 0 in the Isthmian North. Brentwood Town and New Salamis was postponed earlier today also. And Brighton Sea Regent 2, Grays Athletic 0. And Lowestoft 2, Haybridge Swifts 0. And Whittam Town and Stowmarket was postponed with a waterlogged pitch earlier on. And finally in the Southern League Central Division 1 at half-time, it is Kidlington 1, Waltham Abbey 2. And we'll get you all the full-time scores in the last hour of the programme. Well, we are approaching the second half at New Meadow, where Colchester United are drawing 1-1 at present.
BBC Essex Sport.
Chilvers picks out Greenwich in an attacking position. Greenwich to McGeehan. McGeehan shoots! First shot on target, first goal. McGeehan, his third of the season, and in the FA Cup, it's Shrewsbury 0, Colchester United 1. Corner kick, far side of the pitch. Taken to Shipley, edge of the penalty area, takes the deflection, back 1-1. Shipley put in the cross, and Udo got the last touch. Somewhat fortuitous, but Shrewsbury Town 1, Colchester United 1.
In the National League South, Aveley lead Weston-super-Mare 1-0 at half-time.
Opportunity maybe for Weston-super-Mare, who cross it into the box, and then it's glanced over the top. From defender, backtracking, Jalen Jones did really well there. He thankfully got back for his side and denied Weston-super-Mare. Now Dada, right-hand side for Aveley. Breaks the penalty area, neat bit of trickery. On in Lucy, gets it into the area, curled in, but it's gone wide of the target. It's scampered over. Then there's a push. Actually still with the opportunity. Hernandez is denied. Kelly gets the cross into the box for Aveley. Is it going to come down with a striker? It is! And a conversion by Ibe on his debut. He's a 6'6" tall striker, but it was right on the ground as he converted. And it's 1-0 to Aveley. Against the odds, it has to be said, against Weston.
In our other featured game in the Isthmian League North, Malden and Chiptree lead by the same score, 1-0 against Wroxham at half-time.
Cross into the near post, missed by first, missed by second, and converted by Louis Britton. 3 last week, and that's the first for him this week. Malden and Chiptree 1, Wroxham 0.
Already today in the Premier League, Fulham have lost to Manchester United 1-0 with an extra injury time goal from Bruno Fernandes. And in the FA Cup, Northampton have lost at home 3-1 to Barrow. Well, it's time to rejoin your commentary team of Neil Kelly and David Gregory for Shrewsbury Town against Colchester United. It is all level at the break. Coverage is available on all our frequencies today and on BBC Sounds. It is BBC Essex Sport, and the time is coming up to 4 minutes.
BBC Essex Sport.
Welcome back to the Crowd Meadow scoreline at half-time. As Glenn's just been saying, Shrewsbury Town 1, Colchester United 1. You just heard the goals. Lovely goal, wasn't it, by Cameron McGeehan? Only for it to be cancelled out by Dan Udo. No changes at half-time. These will be playing from left to right in the second half, with Goodman in goal, Greenwich, Dallison, Hall and Egbo. Reed, the sitter. In midfield, Tavide, McGeehan, Chilvers and Fevrier. And further forward, Taylor. Lots of options. 9 options on the bench for Colchester United, including backup keeper Hornby. Then it's Jay, Hopper, Mitchell, Mingy, Kennedy, Cooper, Terry and Heon Bien. The referee blows his whistle, Scott Jackson, and we're underway in this second half with the U's playing from left to right. David Gregory saying on BBC Essex, got to try and win it, got to go for it if you can. Me thinking 1-1, take that, replay. Probably week Tuesday usually replays. That will be confirmed if and when this game finishes level, and there's a long way to go on BBC Essex. 45 minutes, no doubt a whole heap of stoppage time, and also keep you across what's going on in the game between Aveley and Weston-super-Mare. Aveley 1 up there as Shrewsbury win a corner kick, and that's a disappointing start to the second half for Tom Dallison, who I thought would have been favoured with Dan Udo, but nonetheless it is a corner for Shrewsbury. Especially disappointing when you bear in mind that Shrewsbury got the equaliser in the first half from a corner kick, that time on the left, this time on the right. Shipley was the man involved from the corner. His shot diverted goalwards by Dan Udo, who's won a cheap corner there. So the U's early doors in this second half have to deal with a set piece. Cross right footed towards the far post, kept in play. No, it isn't. Just for a moment I thought Joe Anderson managed to wrap his left foot around the ball and bring it back into danger area of the 6-yard box, but it just went out of play. Corner kick for Shrewsbury came to nothing, but Tom Dallison will be disappointed that they got a corner kick in the first place.
Yeah, he will be, because I think he's looking for it to go out for a goal kick initially. I think Udo gets a slight touch on it that then makes inadvertently gets another touch off Tom and goes out. So he'll be disappointed he didn't manage to just be a bit stronger and hold Udo away from the ball.
David Shrewsbury getting players forward early doors in this second half, giving the U's no time on the ball, playing 10 yards further forward, coming out of the traps quickly after half time. And you'd expect that. They're at home, they're a League One side against a League Two side, and the U's have some early defending to do.
Yeah, and they've done everything with more purpose in this first couple of minutes in the second half than they did early on in the first. They kept possession in the first half but weren't really hurting Colchester United.
So a second corner, rapid succession for the home side, hooked away by Arthur Reid, and Joe Taylor tried to get there first. Udo was the target for the return pass into the penalty area. Poor header by Bennett, just giving it away to Fevrier. And Fevrier will attack down the inside left channel for Colchester United. Wants an option, gets one in midfield from Conor McGeehan, who's already scored from this distance earlier, and now we're so close to getting a second, and the U's within inches of restoring their lead.
Yeah, and all of a sudden it just opened up in front of McGeehan, and he thought, well, why not? And he's put it in front of him, had the shot. I wasn't sure if it just got, a deflection off the surface, off something in the surface, because it didn't look like Morosi saw it early. It was almost like he got caught out diving to his left-hand side, and from here it wasn't exactly
just for a moment I thought it hit the outside of the post.
Yeah, it looked like it was going towards that post of Morosi. It looked like he wasn't unsighted, or there was some movement of the ball.
Yeah,
in
there was
the air
some kind of deviation. Yeah. 49 minutes gone. Like the opening of the game, that wasn't it? With Shrewsbury full of intent, slightly better in the second half. David pointed out moments ago, and yet the U's took the lead through Cameron McGeehan, and it was almost a reprise there. McGeehan will back himself again if the opportunity arises from distance. He's had some joy. He's put the U's in front, with Shrewsbury are drawing 1-1 with Colchester United, and have a set piece far side of the pitch, right on line with David and I, attacking the goal to our left. Target, Goodman's dropped the ball under no pressure whatsoever, and thankfully Chilvers could bring it away, but he's caught in possession for the U's, and it's Perry angling down the right hand side, runs into trouble. Stretched look about the game for first time this afternoon. Fevrier enjoys the space that produces, slightly behind Will Greenwich. Greenwich will see Egbo's target far side of the pitch, goes back to his skipper Connor Hall. Poor pass by Greenwich under no pressure. Silly, because the U's could be punished at the other end. 3 against 4, breaking forward. Udo right hand side of the box, cross comes in from Bayliss. Udo couldn't get on the end of it, but Greenwich has got, I know I'm sounding critical, David, he's got to do better than that.
Absolutely, and we saw it across the first half, and not just Will Greenwich, other players around the Colchester United side just not careful enough with relatively straightforward passes from one man to another. That was a 10-15 yard pass inside that doesn't find a Colchester player, and all of a sudden Shrewsbury on the break. That time Dallison does well to put it away for a corner kick, and Colchester United will have to defend it, but not until the referee's happy that I think that's Flanagan just limping it around the halfway line. He's decided not to go up for this corner. He's been up for every other set piece.
I'd like to see him in a foot race with Joe Taylor though, but that ain't going to happen at the moment, because Joe Taylor is on the penalty spot marking Taylor Perry. That's a battle there. Corner kick for Shrewsbury, drawing 1-1 with Colchester United, right-footed towards the far post. Benning is the target, knocks his man to the ground. Foul on Connor Hall, free kick for Colchester United. If I sound a little bit frustrating with Will Greenwich there, I know he's only a youngster, David, it was a promising attacking move for Colchester United, and so quickly it's suddenly, I was saying, 3 attackers against 4 defenders, and the U's were open.
Yeah, and of course the ball to him from Jaden Fevrier was a little stopped Will Greenwich in his tracks, but he's still got to be more careful and a bit more positive with what he does after that. You can't. It's got to Will Greenwich, so there's not too much.
Goodman out of his goal quickly, slides in before Bayliss can get there, and picks it up. I wonder if again we'll see Shrewsbury closing Colchester United down quickly. No, they don't. And I know there's been another goal at Malden, who were 1-0 up against Wroxham, but these are big moments in the second half. Shrewsbury trying to get on top against Colchester United, but it's Chilvers in possession to Fevrier. Fevrier inside to Arthur Reid. Reid to McGeehan. Back to Egbo, far side of the pitch. I should have gone to Malden because the Hughes have just passed the ball around between defenders and midfielders for the last couple of minutes. Now they've gone all the way back to the goalkeeper, Owen Gutman. But they are drawing 1-1 in this FA Cup first round tie at the Crowd Meadow, live on BBC Essex. He's McGeehan, who did put them in front. Passes the ball behind Joe Taylor.
That was the right ball. Noah Chilvers makes the run forward. Joe Taylor's then got to be the man that shows defeat. He decided to go long as well, so I think
Winchester
was unlucky.
To Bayliss. Bayliss drives it across, right-footed, corner kick, goal, Pete Morris.
Yeah, 2-0 to the Jammers. George Smith the scorer, and Wroxham being undone by that old trick of putting a left footer and a right footer over the free kick. So the defence has a split-second indecision on whether it's going to be an in-swinger or an out-swinger. Well, Malden and Tiptree knew exactly what it was going to be. It was a Terrell Egbury in-swinger, and George Smith running onto it. Powerful header home. Keeper could do nothing. Malden and Tiptree 2, Wroxham 0.
2-0 there, 1-1 here, corner kick to Shrewsbury, right-footed into the used penalty area, headed away by Noah Chilvers at the near post. So Colchester United play Swindon on Tuesday at the JobServe Community Stadium. But prior to that game, the Hughes have got Shrewsbury up here at the Crowd Meadow, and Swindon had what looked like a fairly regulation FA Cup first round tie at home to National League, former league club, Aldershot Town. David, you'd barely believe the scoreline. Swindon Town 0, Aldershot Town 5.
Yeah,
staggering.
Yeah, it is staggering, so far there, but I'm already thinking, will we see a reaction from Swindon Town
I knew you'd say that.
On Tuesday? So hopefully it will dent their confidence so much that it's still affecting them on Tuesday, and Colchester, their confidence will be lifted in this last 32 minutes or so.
Yeah, a bit more than that.
We'll get the confidence of a win here in the FA Cup first.
Thrown long into the Colchester penalty area. Good lead by Dallas, and using his aerial strength to good effect. But he'll have more defending to do. There's a couple of players on the ground inside the penalty area, and the referee says goal kick and will stop the action. He might have done this earlier because there's a Shrewsbury player with a head injury, but he didn't stop it because Shrewsbury were attacking.
No, and I think Samson Tavide and Anderson both went down in the penalty area, and then Samson saw that there was a danger that he could stop her, so he managed to get up and be okay. He's gone over to the assistant over. No.
Yeah, he's limping at an ankle, so the referee got that spot on. 1-1, 10 minutes into the second half. A little bit of mist around the Crowd Meadow, just obscuring the views of the trees between the Salop leisure stand to our left and the main cantilever stand opposite. It does rather remind me of the JobServe Community Stadium, as McGeehan and Taylor feeding on bits and pieces force the goalkeeper into a poor clearance. Chilvers might go for goal, left-footed, threads it, nothing more than that, threads it wide of the target.
Yeah, I mean, we said earlier about Cameron McGeehan's shot that Morosi didn't look entirely comfortable with it going past his left hand and to that corner of the goal. On that occasion, I think the Shrewsbury keeper was well aware that it was going wide of the target and was happy to see it go out for the goal kick.
The goals are happening in our non-league games. We've had 2 here, 1 for both sides. And then it'll be off to Averley at a propitious moment. But it's a long ball through the middle, chested down, and Shipley puts Shrewsbury in front. And the Hughes undone by a nothing ball through the middle. Jordan Shipley, on his return to the side, just lifted it over Owen Gutman, and the League One side are in front. Shrewsbury Town 2, Colchester United 1.
Yeah, Shipley's made a good run off the back of Connor Hall, and the ball to him is a fantastic ball. And Connor Hall, I think he just turns the wrong way and then just gets caught between knowing where the player was and knowing where the ball was, and that catches him out. And Shipley's managed to get to the ball before it bounces, because if it bounces, it just zips off and away from him. So managed to get to it, for that first touch, and then as Owen Goodman comes out, just toes it by him and into the empty net. fantastic ball and a great run from Shipley, just off the back shoulder of Connor Hall, and unfortunately Connor just gets caught out, and he isn't sure which way to turn, to whether to look at the ball or keep an eye out for the player by the look of things, and just unfortunately Shrewsbury will feel that in the first 11 or so minutes of this half that they have taken the game to Colchester United again. They'll feel that they deserve to be ahead.
I should have gone to Averley. I will now. Nick Alliker, BBC Essex.
And despite chances in this second period for Western, it's Averley who've doubled their advantage. Long throw in from the right-hand side by a Ring. Ibby teeing up, and Vaz converts from the edge of the area. Averley in front 2-0.
So Averley are 2 up. Malden Tiptree also lead by 2-0. The U's were in front against League One Shrewsbury Town, but now find themselves behind. I say a nothing ball. That's a bit unfair, and not what I meant by that was the U's were undone by a ball which they would have seen coming from 40 or 50 yards away. Jordan Shipley saw it, got on the end of it, and it was an excellent bit of control, and then just lifted it over Owen Goodman to put Shrewsbury in front, and the U's have got everything to do now, David.
Yeah, they have done, and you could see Shrewsbury on the front foot now, because Colchester United had the ball at the back. Shrewsbury all of a sudden, their press is really good and really high.
It's been good.
Includes
second half,
4 and 5 players rather than just a couple that Colchester will then be able to get round and pass. On that occasion, 4 or 5 people closed them down, and in the end, Colchester United, they managed to get the throw in over there, but that's gone the way of Shrewsbury.
And the U's will switch to a 3, I think, at the back, with Zach Mitchell, who had to make maybe it'll be a straight swap. For him, for one of the central defenders. Logically, it'd be Tom Darlison returning after a significant absence.
I think it'd probably be going to a 3 so that we can get players further up the pitch and into areas that can hurt Shrewsbury, but that substitution is going to happen very, very quickly after the goal.
Greenwich will go off for Colchester United. Zach Mitchell will go on. The U's will go to 3 at the back and a couple of genuine attacking wing backs.
Yeah, I mean Egbo I think will come out to this right wing back slot, and Jaden Fevier I think will stay out on that left hand side, but play as a wing back. It looks like Connor Hall's on the left now, Tom Dallison in the middle of the 3 centre halves, and Zach Mitchell's on the right.
Changes at the back, but with the U's 2-1 down on BBC Essex in the FA Cup, but changes designed to get the U's creative down the flanks going forward. They'll have to wait though, because Fevrier has some defending to do. Heads up in the air, gets it back to Jaden Fevrier. Colchester United have never really taken the game at all to Shrewsbury during the course of the afternoon. Happy to hit on the counter-attack. But it's Shrewsbury threatening again down the right-hand side. Shot into the midriff of Owen Goodman, and Shrewsbury are on top at the moment. He's Arthur Reed for Colchester United. Zach Mitchell gets his first touch right in front of us. Passes it inside to Dallison, playing in the centre, as David said, with Connor Hall to his left. He's Arthur Reed again, 10 yards short of the halfway line. How about a bit of service for Joe Taylor? And Samson Davido, is he taking up a more central position now, David, through the middle with Joe Taylor?
Yeah, he has done, and you look at it, you've still got that triangle in the midfield area, but for me now we've got 3 players at the back. Noah Chilvers, Arthur Reed and Cameron McGinn have got to be careful not for more than one of them to get sucked too deep, because the whole idea of going 3 at the back is so we've got extra men further up in the pitch. If all of a sudden there's 2 of those coming back into the back 3, all of a sudden that's 5 players that are in defensive areas.
Reed for the U's, just short of the halfway line on BBC Essex, with Colchester United now 2-1 down to League One Shrewsbury. Chilvers darts forward, does so well into some space, closed off, but only to McGeehan. McGeehan out to the left hand side to Jaden Fevrier. A apex of the penalty area as the U's attack the goal to our right. Fevrier does so well, turns quickly into the box. Can he pick out Chilvers? Blocked inside the 6-yard box. Follow-up effort over the bar by Joe Taylor.
Fantastic skill from Jaden Fevrier on the left hand side. Both Shrewsbury defenders thought he was going to go back to Connor Hall with the ball. He rolls that foot over and then spins, and he's in behind both of them, pulls it back. Now Chilvers' effort through plenty of bodies. One of those bodies was able to get a touch on it and clear it to the edge of the penalty area. I'm not sure what the referee's talking to a couple of Shrewsbury players there, and saying that one of them's got to change it. It's got to change his shirt. I'm not sure Yeah, I think that's Anderson coming off to. They're saying, has he got to put a new shirt on because it's ripped? I didn't know that was in the rules, but so it is. That's exactly what's happening. And unfortunately, when it comes out to Joe Taylor,
Shipley is getting some treatment, whilst Anderson has his shirt changed. And Colchester United show that having fallen behind, they can cause Shrewsbury problems, but they are going to have to take risks. And it'll be Shrewsbury with the opportunity to hit Colchester United on the counter-attack. Indeed, Shipley did that to put Shrewsbury 2-1 in front. Tackle comes in by Dallison, caught his man. That'll hurt. And will the referee hurt Dallison with a yellow card? He will.
Yeah, I mean, he had the yellow card out straight out of his pocket as soon as the challenge went in. And I think in the challenge before that, Tom Dallison felt that Udo just left his head in when Tom Dallison was going to head the ball clear. He was just holding his, looked like his mouth or his chin, and he's just doing the same now from the previous challenge. I think he probably went into Udo a little bit hard that second time. Udo was clever enough to move the ball away from him and take the foul, and I think it was an easy yellow card for the referee to give.
18 minutes into the second half, these were plenty to do. So that's Anderson without a number on his back, Dave, is that correct?
Yeah, that's him.
Worth me knowing that. Nicely done by Bayliss out to the right-hand side. Shot over the bar, good effort, and Jordan Shipley is full of beans, and he has every reason to do so, to be so, David, because his assist level things up, and now his goal separates these two sides.
Yeah, and he's a player that's got into very, very good areas. He hasn't all the time been playing right up alongside Udo. He kind of sits in that two with Bayliss behind him, but it was a fantastic run. He was the man going the furthest behind the Colchester United defence, and just like I say, just gets in behind Connor Hall, and Connor Hall's just caught in two minds, whether to be looking at the ball, and turns the wrong way and gets caught out a little bit.
Reed's long ball, telegraphed, easily intercepted. I know there's been another goal, but Shrewsbury are threatened. They're 2-1 up against Colchester United. I fear a third goal. It'd go a long way to settling this contest, and the U's would be out of the FA Cup. Let's hope it doesn't come to that anytime soon anyway, as the home side build patiently, more patiently now than previously. Makes sense, of course, doesn't it? Benning passes back to Sirha. Benning, smart ball inside to Jason Sirha. On to Udo, inside the penalty area. Udo wants to turn, scooped away just by a man in yellow and blue, and Chilvers holds off his challenge. Lovely back heel inside to Reed. That was a delightful bit of skill, and Reed just can't unlock the door with Tavide making a run through the inside right channel. He's Bayliss for the home side. Stretch field of the game. Bayliss into the D. Shoot, takes a deflection, saved by the goalkeeper. Now, have we got Pete Morris standing by?
We have, and Malden and Tiptree are 3-0 up now. It came from the penalty spot, George Smith converting. That all came from Wroxham trying to push up and get something out of this game. Good pressing from the front two from Malden and Tiptree. They won the ball back. That got Terrell Egbury away in a lot of space down the left-hand side. Pace for pace with the full-back, but he just got goal side as he turned into the area. There was enough contact for the referee to be convinced that was a spot kick. George Smith converting his second of the game. Malden and Tiptree 3, Wroxham 0.
Thanks for picking up, Pete. I did say a third goal for Shrewsbury would pretty much settle it here. Well, that's surely the case in that game, because Malden and Tiptree have a 3-goal advantage. More stretched field to the game, David, but the U's have got to start taking risks, because they're 2-1 down, and the FA Cup, that means you go out.
Yeah, of course it does. You have got to take chances at the moment. Colchester United they're not taking massive chances and pushing men forward. They're still keeping Conor McGeehan, Cameron McGeehan rather, and Arthur Reed a little bit deeper than Noah Chilvers, and the ball hasn't been finding its way into the final third of the pitch enough occasions as Brian Bowman comes on.
He's been excellent, Jordan Shipley. He's played a massive part in turning this FA Cup tie around in the home side's favour. But his afternoon's done. 66-67 minutes of it, and he's been replaced by a man who brings back nightmares for you supporters in his own right, Richie Bowman. Ryan Bowman, beg your pardon, on as substitute for the home side. Do you remember that 6-1 defeat for the U's, David, against Exeter City? He got a hat-trick. Sliding challenge, ball won by Dallison. He had to win the ball. Reid, inside his own penalty area. And the home supporters getting on the backs of the U's players as they put it out of play for a throw-in in a promising position right in front of us for Shrewsbury Town, leading Colchester United by 2-1 on BBC Essex.
And one thing they haven't backed off from Shrewsbury is closing Colchester United down when they've got on the ball in our own around the edge of our penalty area. Our defenders have got it, and Shrewsbury have still gone forward with numbers to press and been able to do it. And on that occasion, Tom Dallason's ball was a poor one out to the right-hand side and went straight out for that throw-in.
Yeah, the U's haven't created that many chances. It was a lovely goal that saw them in front through Cameron McGeehan. And since then, the opportunities have been few and far between, and they've had to be really well worked. And that's because they've had so few set pieces, corners, throw-ins, free kicks in promising positions. So rarely they've been able to get the ball into the Shrewsbury penalty area that they might be able to manufacture a chance. They haven't been able to build any sustained pressure of their own, because they weren't bothered about that when they were 1-0 up, or even when it was 1-1. But now with 2-1 down and 3/4 of the way through the game, and still Shrewsbury the more likely side. There is of course a division between these two clubs, as Udo turns into Dallison, hit away by Mitchell, only as far as Sahar, robbed by Chilvers, who lifts it up in the air, and Tavide chases after it, up against the defender. Will it bounce well for Tavide? It doesn't. In the end, he was outnumbered, because getting back just in time was Tom Flanagan. But for a moment there, I thought Tavide might be able to get on a ball hit forward with a little bit of hope by Noah Chilvers.
Yeah, well, I think he was always favourite against Anderson as the ball was going, because he was always the ball side of the defender. But then I think he was once again concentrating so much on the contact between the player and himself. He didn't spot Flanagan recovering as he should do. You're trying to help your other centre halves out, and that's exactly what he did, and managed then to get the ball before Sampson was waiting for it to come down, waiting to see it, whether he needed to shoulder barge or put his shoulder against the
Lovely
defender.
work by Benning, cutting inside on his left foot. Reid slows him down, but Perry helps him out. Perry, left hand side of the 18-yard box, forced backwards by Reid. Benning again for Shrewsbury, 2-1 up. Square pass by Sahar. Winchester drives in a shot. Turning as the shot was hit was Cameron McGeehan, and hit the back of his heels and ricochets inside the Shrewsbury half of the pitch. And the mist thickens as Winchester's early ball into the penalty area. He's Bowman looking to turn, spells danger. Tackle comes in, well tackled, and Coach Knight will bring it out. And there's a foul, a late foul, once it became obvious that Chilvers couldn't get on the end of the pass.
Yeah, just looking at it now, you're seeing the clock almost come up to 70 minutes. You're wondering if now's a time for a change of personnel, or get some fresh legs on in the top end of the pitch or in the wide areas, just to see if we can upset Shrewsbury a little bit in what they're doing. They seem very set now in their shape and how they're defending against Colchester United, because it isn't really too much about how they're attacking now. It's about how Colchester United can get at them and see if they can't find their way back into this cup tie.
McGeehan crosses the halfway line and sends it out to the left-hand side to Connor Hall, and Fevrier is just hacked down. Pointless. Far side of the pitch. I'll tell you what you get. A yellow card.
Yeah, and I think that's Winchester over on that far side. Fevrier just got it, cut inside him, and
do you know what?
It was an obvious.
It's the previous attack where Fevrier opened up the Shrewsbury defence, and that's what Winchester, Old Pro, was worried about, and took the card for the team.
Yeah, and you're just looking down to the bench to our right. It looks like there's going to be three. Yeah, it looks like there's going to be 2 or 3 substitutions.
I love this moment.
Ionvi, Terry and Hopper are all ready to come on and try and change the game for Colchester United. And you don't want to be in the position of the 4th official now, because he's got a real job to do. While Jaden Fevier's up and all right and everything, so that'll be okay for Colchester United.
So the first of the changes is the last of the afternoon for involvement for Tom Dallison, and he's replaced by Frankie Terry.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Whether whether they thought that Tom Dallison would only be able to make 70-75 minutes of the game. You wondered if that's the case, because that's a straight swap between two centre halves. Samson Tavide's already off, and Tom Hopper makes his way to the edge of the penalty area. That's a like-for-like change, and whether this is Joe Taylor or whether it's not, I think you want to keep more players, forward players on the pitch. So it'll be an interesting one to see who the Ombian comes on for.
So he hasn't come on as yet. The U's have got a free kick. They're trailing by 2-1, but it is Joe Taylor, David, who's gone off and immediately goes behind the goal, which you're required to do, and he'll walk in front of the away fans who give him a very decent reception. Though they're seeing their side trailing by 2-1, but they have a set piece attacking the goal to our right. They've had so few set pieces in promising positions. Can they get on the end of this one? It's headed up in the air and away. They have so many players forward, unusually, that they had to win it back, and they did so. It's a miscued pass out to the right-hand side that's cleared away by Straha, all the way through to Owen Goodman in the visiting goal for Colchester United. 2-1 down if you're just joining us on BBC Essex. Averley and Malden and Tiptree both heading for victory in their games against Weston-super-Mare and Wroxham. In the Premier League, I've not heard anything lately. Don't know if you've got anything for me. Brentford 1, West Ham 2, Burnley 0, Palace 1, Everton 1, Brighton 0, Manchester City 3, Bournemouth 0, and Sheffield United 0, Wolves 0. But nearly all those goals were in the first half. I might just give that a quick check as Colchester United make the changes and now wait for the change.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they want to. I'm not sure. I think the referee's waiting. The fourth official was indicated to him that a change will take place, but the referee said, no, if you're not ready, Matter it is waiting down there on the halfway line to come on, and I'm not sure what the change will be.
The goals in the Premier League. Brentford have equalised against West Ham. It's 2-2. Manchester City have added a fourth against Bournemouth, and Sheffield United, big goal for them, have got their noses in front against Wolves. Here, Shrewsbury 2, Colchester United 1. It's the FA Cup, so unless things change, the U's will be out of the competition at the first hurdle, and Essex's interest, in terms of Essex sides, will be over for a season, as Owen Goodman shows great skill to slip past Bowman and get the U's passing the ball along the deck, and then we'll be off to Park Drive with Lane with Pete Morris, where Malden and Tiptree are beating Wroxham by 3-0, but I say beating because I think they are going to. Egbo runs down the right-hand side. Hopper's inside the penalty area. Ball's out for a goal kick. Pete Morris, another goal.
Wroxham have got one back. It was a nice little interplay down the left-hand side, actually, and crossed into the middle for their fullback, wandering upfield. Why not? Rio Abadunde with a side footer in past Luca Collins in the Malden and Tiptree goal. That's all we've seen of Wroxham in this second half. It has all been one-way traffic, and as the light goes down here, the floodlights aren't brilliant, to be honest. It looks like Wroxham's hopes are also fading. It is Malden and Tiptree 3, Wroxham 1.
And in the fading light of day, the U's hopes are receding. 2-1 down. West Ham United are back in front in the London derby. Brentford 2, West Ham United 3. 15 minutes left, David. 15 minutes to get themselves back on level terms.
Yeah, and I think it's case Coach United are going to have to take a few more chances than they have done so far.
Benning, very advanced, down this left-hand side, plays it inside. Chance for Bowman. Great block. Great block. Might have been Mitchell. Great block because it was slid goalwards, and it looked like at that point that Shrewsbury were going to get the all-important third goal, and Mitchell keeps the U's in the game.
Yeah, he does. It's fantastic defending in the end, but before then that was nothing about Colchester United throwing too many players forward. That was about really good impact attacking from Shrewsbury, and they got it out to Bowman. I think he's made the right decision to try and go first time with his shot, because Zach Mitchell is trying to make his way over to engage him, and he wants to get it before Zach gets there. Unfortunately, the young Colchester defender is able to get there first.
Corner kick for Shrewsbury, met at the near post by Noah Chilvers, but Flanagan first to the loose ball, passes it back to Bennett. wings his way down the right hand side, drives in across. Another corner kick for Shrewsbury, and they'll be happy because they're 2-1 up, and the U's can't score from an opposition corner.
Yeah, and these are the occasions where the home side will go for a third goal. They'll want to get that cushion between them and the opposition, so there's no point in trying to not score when you've got a real good opportunity to put it into the box.
Another corner for Shrewsbury, again heads away at the near post. Benning smashes it in, blocked off by a Hughes defender. Mitchell with the clearance, it breaks nicely to Benning. Goodman gets out quickly. The ball's still live inside the Hughes penalty area and headed away towards the near side. Shrewsbury thought they were certain to get a third goal. Instead, Perry shot deflected, looped over the bar. Another corner for Shrewsbury, 2-1 up. And here we are on BBC Essex wondering about whether Colchester United can get up the other end and get an equaliser. And yet at the moment, it's all Shrewsbury. They're looking the more likely side. They've penned the Hughes back, and they've got another corner.
Yeah, and they're trying to turn the screw. They're trying to get that 2-goal cushion, and I think Perry thought he'd done all the hard work in cutting inside, gets a shot away, and Noah Chill just comes off the back of his heel and loops over the crossbar for this corner. But at the moment, Colchester United, as much as they'd like to be at the other end, are having to do everything to just keep the deficit at 1 goal.
Winchester with the corner, right-footed, headed up in the air by Bowman, collected just ahead of his line by Goodman. He wants to throw it out quickly. Fevrier will be the target, but it's 10 yards away from him. And then the Hughes players will all charge out, but Shrewsbury work it well. Lovely play by Bayliss, past Reed, onto the right-hand side, across the face of goal, and that will settle it, surely. The Hughes were trying to break quickly at one end, but left gaps at the back at the other end, and they're heading out of the FA Cup, and the gap between League One and League Two increasingly evident. Shrewsbury Town 3, Colchester United 1.
Yeah, and you're looking at it, I mean, all of a sudden Owen Goodman clears the ball, wanting to find Fevrier on this right hand side. But to their credit, Shrewsbury had 3 players back, so he was never favourite to get it. But then they go through. I mean, it's far too easy for Bayliss to go past 2 and 3 Colchester United defenders, and then he rolls the ball out to that right hand side. I think it was Perry over that side, is then able to cut inside, gets a shot away. I think there's a deflection, but that only takes it into the back of the Colchester United net. And with the pressure they've put Colchester United under in the last 10 minutes, you can't deny Shrewsbury that 2-goal cushion that we were talking about, as Arthur Reed's just the follow through. I think it was Benning just trying to clear the ball, and his follow through takes him into Arthur Reed's foot. The officials often give free kicks for that, but the referees decided against it, and I think all the Shrewsbury players thought it was a free kick.
It was a fairly even first half, David, but right from the beginning in the second half, Shrewsbury came out and have been on top, and increasingly that gap, and there is a gap between League One and League Two, becomes more evident, and that, I guess, is reflected in the 2 goals as Tom Hopper breaks into the penalty area and almost puts the ball into the path. I don't think it was, he was Ion VM, but he didn't quite find him.
No, and Colchester United making another change now. Noah Chilvers is going off behind the goal like Joe Taylor did, but Che Cooper to come on, and he's got 10 minutes now to really make an impression. He'll feel he deserves probably more football over the last 2 or 3 games after a little foray into the starting lineup where he scored goals, and he'll be wanting to keep his name in whoever it is going to be head coach for Colchester United, and be in and amongst the squad.
Yeah, they've just proved too strong in the end in the second half, and Colchester United can have few complaints, although David will say game's not over, Neil. It's 3-1 up. I've seen bigger fight backs than this in my time. I've featured in some of them, no doubt, but it's just that the Shrewsbury have been increasingly dominant after the break, and that's why it seems so unlikely that Colchester United will be able to mount a fight back, as Che Cooper, in his first touch since coming on, combines with Arthur Reed, slips past Bowman, sends it out to the left-hand side to Fevrier, who opened up the Shrewsbury defence once this afternoon, but not that time. Another goal for Malden and Tiptree, Pete Morris.
And just a moment or so after Wroxham had got a goal back, Malden and Tiptree have regained their 3-goal lead. They're now 4-1 up. It came from Harry Phillips on as a substitute. He'd only be on a moment or so. Someone to my left remembers the old Sham 69 song and shouted, "Hurry up, Harry," as he came on, and he did. It was a near post sort of header bundled in, and it means that Malden Tiptree 4-1 up. This game is as good as done.
And this game, Shrewsbury are 3-1 up. Not quite as done, but bear in mind the dominance that Shrewsbury have had in the second half. I kind of fancy it'll be Shrewsbury's name that will be going into the hat for the draw for the second round, and there'll be no Essex side left in the bag at all. It's only Colchester who made it through to the first round, and they got that far, dare I say it, due to a bias. Goodman clatters the ball unintentionally, of course, out of play, and it'll be a throw into Shrewsbury. 3,011 at the game, and a decent away following of over 500, but they've been quietened in the second half as they watch Shrewsbury get on top.
Yeah, they have been, and they have. They've kind of been relentless in their pressure in pressing Colchester United when Colchester had the ball, and when they've got the ball, they've been really, really efficient with it. And they'll feel in this second half they've deserved it. And those 170 Colchester United fans that have made the trip will feel at half time there was still very much in the game, but Shrewsbury, as you say, taking the game away from them.
They did in the second half, and like I said, it's only then really in the second half when you think, I suppose there is a gap of one division between the two sides. And of course Shrewsbury were at home, and do you remember that collective audible gasp of disappointment when the draw came out? Well, you didn't get it wrong, because the U's have come up short. You kind of expected it. What have you made of it? Glenn Pennyfather sitting ready and waiting for you in the final hour of the programme for your thoughts and reflections on the FA Cup 2023-2024 for our Essex sides. You can text 81333, start your message with the word Essex. I suppose one consolation with the U's going out of the competition, am I writing them off too early, 3-1 down? I don't think so. Is that they can now concentrate on the league. They've won their last 2 games, and they'll want to maintain that run on Tuesday. Can they maintain their recent improvement? Email essex.sport@bbc.co.uk. As in your text messages, you need the word Essex in front of your WhatsApp messages, and then number 08000 321 333. And on Twitter, on X, at BBC Essex Sport. And if you want to speak to Glenn Pennyfather in person, I mean you do every Friday evening anyway, you can ring him 0800 111 40 41 as the ball's crossed into the Shrewsbury penalty area. It was out to the left hand side. The U's haven't given it up just yet. Arrives at the far post, and can they keep it alive? They can, with Arthur Reed. Reed feints to shoot, forces back out to Fevrier. Fevrier drives across in low, and it's a nice bit of skill by Connor Hall with his back heel. I think it hit the chest of a defender, and from all I thought Connor Hall was looking for a penalty, as is a corner kick for Colchester United. 3-1 down, and a triple substitution for Shrewsbury coming up with 4.5 minutes to go. Was it just after 4:45 on this November afternoon? The U's with a corner kick, right-footed. And the U's fans behind the goal to our right haven't given up, because they're going to have a second corner, and still they cheer and encourage their side and ask for one last big effort. It'll need to be a 2-goal effort if they're going to turn this cup tie around. 3-1 down with a corner kick taken left-footed by Reed, and they've got one of them. Zach Mitchell has got it, his first ever goal for the club. Downward header at the far post. Hope for the U's in the FA Cup. Shrewsbury Town 3, Colchester United 2. Mitchell, the scorer.
Yeah, it was a great ball into that near post, Arthur Reed, and then a little flick on, and Zach Mitchell just heading it. Didn't need to do anything except make sure it got on target. Heads it into that corner, and that's that's actually his second goal. He scored against Grimsby a couple of weeks ago. One from a corner there.
First FA Cup goal.
Yeah. And just looking at it now, and all three of those substitutions look like they're still going to happen despite Colchester United scoring.
My apologies, Zach Mitchell, not your first ever goal. Got that goal at Grimsby from close range, and it was similar distance this time. It was actually a well-worked corner kick routine.
Yeah, it was into that near post area, and get that flick on it, and then you know that there's going to be a chance of getting someone else on it at the back post.
Elliot Thorpe will make his debut for Shrewsbury on loan from Luton Town, and the changes continue. And then when we get back underway, Neil Kelly was talking all about how you could get in touch with BBC Essex to reflect on the U's demise in the FA Cup and talk about the league and can maintain recent improvement. And David Gregory always says, don't be too premature, Neil. 3-2 down. Shrewsbury making a whole host of changes. It ain't over, David, not yet, even if I thought it kind of was. And he's Shrewsbury's Noah Kenner, driving in a shot which bounces up in the end, collected by Goodman. And listen to the sound of Essex to our right. They certainly haven't given up. With the U's 3-2 down, a little bit of hope with his second of the season from Zach Mitchell.
Yeah, and you're looking at it, and we're all eyes now on the fourth official with how much time he adds on to things, as you know, Colchester United try and get the ball back. Shrewsbury, as you'd expect, taking their time to get the free kick back. I don't know why Jaden Fevier doesn't roll it straight back to the player that needs to take it.
So what are you doing now, formation-wise, for the closing stages, David, with all those substitutions? I'm relaxed about Shrewsbury. That's not the story. It's the U's going forward. How are they trying to get themselves back on level terms?
I think they're basically, you know, they're using the same formation, but I think Manny Egbo's trying to be further up on the right. Jaden Fevier's trying to be further up on the left. Tom Hopper and Bradley Ionvian are playing in front. Che Cooper's just hitting that hole behind them, and I think you just want McGeehan and Reed and everyone just 5 or 10 yards further up the pitch than they have been so far. And yes, that's going to maybe leave gaps at the back, but you might as well go for it in these last couple of minutes.
Oh, there's a little bit of urgency, though. They're going backwards to Mitchell, and Mitchell, having got the goal, that's given the U's a lifeline, a little bit of hope. Passes out to Egbo. Che Cooper playing behind Ionvien and Hopper. McGeehan in an attacking position, but the U's have got to get the ball forward in the first place. Goodman, no great pass out to the left-hand side. What can the U's manufacture? They've gone back to Goodman again. I thought the idea was to get the ball forward, David. Patience, I guess. Now they go along. Ionvien competes, loses out. McGeehan can't get there first, and then pushes his man to the ground and concedes a free kick. And I don't think that's the best decision.
No, I think it was one of those ones. It was a tired challenge in the back of a Shrewsbury player from McGeehan. He's got around the pitch very, very well this afternoon, and he'll feel a bit aggrieved on that one, but it did look like he was in the back of the player.
Here we go, David. We're going to find out how much stoppage time we've got in this game. Seemed very unlikely, and you know what I meant when I said the U's were 3-1 down. It wasn't just the 3-1 scoreline. It's just that Shrewsbury had been so much on top in the second half. It seemed very unlikely that Colchester United would be able to get back in it, but nonetheless, a well-worked set piece.
Absolutely.
Where there's life, there's hope.
Yeah, and they're the incidents where you have really got to do everything you want to do. It's
6 minutes, David.
Yeah, and that gives the opportunity for Colchester United to try and get forward as much as they can.
Hopper put his face in danger as he tried to block a clearance. 6 minutes, that will lift the Colchester United players, who have a throw-in a yard or so short of the halfway line, attacking their goal to a right on BBC Essex. They looked out of it when they were 3-1 down. The third goal scored by Perry, but again, and Reed might get booked for that. David will get booked because the referee gave Shrewsbury a free kick.
It's Frankie Terry, yeah. I think it's Frankie Terry, because he said about just barging into the back of Bowman. I think it's another a very harsh yellow card. I think it's one of those ones where
Reed was applauding the ref. That's because the referee then afterwards clapped his hand and said, "That's what I'm doing it for." And I say that because we've seen throughout this season that referees are willing to book that kind of thing, and the U's have lost Arthur Reed once, and they don't want to lose them again. Poor pass forward by Shrewsbury means that we've now had 90 seconds of the 6 minutes of stoppage time, closing stages of this FA Cup tie. Can the U's breathe new life into the campaign? Headed up in the air by Reid, and the referee's seen an infringement by a player in blue, and that means free kick for Colchester United, who have the opportunity, if they want, to load the area or just outside the area. They go short for McGeehan, who carefully caresses it out to the right hand side to Reid. His cross takes a bit of a deflection, headed away by a defender. Everyone's in the Colchester half of the pitch, but Bowman makes a run through the middle. Egbo slows down his man, slows down one of the substitutes, Soberwale, and the U's have a throw on the right. Ionviem wants to take it quickly. Colchester United 3-2 down in the FA Cup. Looked out of it. And then Zach Mitchell, with his second of the season, gave them some hope, and they win the header. And Connor Hall is now playing as an out-and-out attacker, but can't get on the end of Hopper's slanted header into the 18-yard area.
No, but I mean, that's what you've got to do now. You've got to just put percentage balls into the edge of the penalty area if you can. Connor Hall's playing up there now, and you're thinking he's just got back in position now, but he might as well have stayed up front and just given themselves another aerial threat for a ball forward.
Just one chance, that's all they're looking for. They'll settle for that one opportunity. Reid fouled. Again, inviting pressure. It's not been the most convincing end to the game from a Shrewsbury side, who will get another yellow card for wasting time.
Yeah, thought that is one of the substitutes that came on
his debut. So Colchester, everyone forward except Owen Goodman. Free kick, 3-2 down in the FA Cup first round at Crowd Meadow, home of League One, Shrewsbury Town. The free kick is taken by Manny Egbo, right-footed, flicked on, keeper favoured, keeper collects.
Yeah, and he's done really well because he spotted the danger, he spotted the trajectory of the flick on. I think it was Frankie Terry that flicked the ball on the edge of the box, and Morosi does very well to come out and just take it cleanly, and now taking his time. Tom Hobber asking the referee if he's taking too much time, but the referee will decide that.
4 minutes of 6 gone. But I have a snip of stoppage time, but we may have an extra minute on top of that. Mitchell gets in there. Reid tries to get the U's going forward. Egbo blocks off a pass. Foot raised. Foul on Shea Cooper. Free kick for Colchester United. Another free kick taken quickly. Ionvien's the target. Defender Anderson heads it away. Shame, because Ionvien was in a good position. Won back by Egbo. Smart ball inside for Shea Cooper. Cooper's got Fevrier, and the rain's back. It's pouring down as Fevrier crosses left-footed. And was that a push? Or was the defender Straha just a little bit too strong, the second rather than the first? And Shrewsbury, rare of late, crossed the halfway line. And Mata, the New Zealand international, puts the cross into the box. It comes off Egbo and turns out into a rather good back pass. Why they put the ball in the box, I don't know, because Shrewsbury are 3-2 up, and we've only got a minute of stoppage time to go. We had loads of rain early in the day, not much since then. Now it's back with a vengeance for the final couple of minutes of this game as Colchester United chase an unlikely equaliser against League One Shrewsbury Town. They were 3-1 down, it's now 3-2. Here's Connor Hall. Hall to Cooper. Cooper on his right foot, drives it in. Good take by the keeper.
Yeah, it was, and it was a good strike in the end. He's come inside onto his right foot, so you always knew that he was going to try and get a shot away. Morosi sees it well, makes a good save down to his right hand side, but also might feel that's their last chance as we're going into the last 30 seconds of this 6 minutes. But you're right, Neil, the referee might well add on a minute or so.
A minute, not much more. That, I fear, was the chance. I've seen Cooper score from there. He did so in the 2-1 defeat at home to Harrogate. This time he went low, and the keeper not only saved but held on to it in the slippy conditions. The U's will roll forward one final time. Crossfield ball, comfortably headed away. Mitchell, plenty of time to take on his man and move forward. Option from Egbo to the right. The U's have loaded the penalty area, but Egbo can't get it through. A player in blue at the near post, and Goodman has to come out of his penalty area. He wants to keep this ball live. Can McGeehan get there first? He can. Back to Goodman. Goodman to Mitchell. Mitchell goes long for Colchester United. 3-1 down, 3-2 down, seconds to go. Is that a foul by Ion Bien? Referee says no, it isn't. Throw in for Colchester United. We've had 7 minutes of 6 of stoppage time. The home supporters in the pouring rain are beseeching the referee to blow his whistle and bring this game to an end. Goodman goes long and the referee says that's it. And Colchester United are out of the FA Cup. It was a brave fight back at the end of this game when Zach Mitchell got his second goal of the season from close range to reduce the deficit from 3-1 to 3-2. But Colchester United could only create one more opportunity with Shea Cooper, and that was from distance. And overall, do you know what, David? I'm not going to begrudge Shrewsbury the victory, because I thought they were the better side in this game and probably just about deserved to run out winners by 3-2.
Yeah, even at 1-1 at half time, we felt that Shrewsbury had probably edged the first half, but then as soon as that second half started, there was just a bit more purpose about Shrewsbury in possession. It was effective possession that was getting in behind Colchester United and causing them a few problems at the back. And when they went 2-1 up and then 3-1 up, you felt they were in control. Colchester United did come back into it towards the end there, and you were hoping that another chance would fall their way. It did come with Shea Cooper from outside the penalty area. Unfortunately, Morosi was equal to it down to his right, but a brave attempt at the end there. But I think you're right, Neil. I think Shrewsbury will go away and feel that 3-2 probably flattered Colchester a little bit more than it flattered Shrewsbury, and they deserve to be in round 2. And unfortunately, we go out of the first hurdle of the FA Cup.
Thanks very much from David Gregory, who will now help us seek reaction from the Colchester United camp. We'd love to hear from you with your text 81333. Start your message with the word Essex. Same with your WhatsApp messages 08000 321 333. The U's are out of the FA Cup. Your thoughts on that? Email essex.sport@bbc.co.uk, on Twitter, on X @BBC Essex Sport, reflecting on a 3-2 defeat for the U's, a game that started well from a Colchester United perspective when Cameron McGeehan scored from 25 yards, only for it to be cancelled out when Dan Udoh diverted a Jordan Shipley shot past Owen Goodman. Shipley was crucial in this game. He put Shrewsbury 2-1 up, and then Perry looked like he'd made it sure that Shrewsbury were going to go through to the third round, only for Zach Mitchell, second of the season, to narrow the deficit. And then there was a little bit of hope in front of 500 Colchester United fans. A brave finish, but they finished just short and they're out of the cup. It's finished at the Crowd Meadow. League 1 Shrewsbury Town 3, League 2 Colchester United 2.
Well, U's fans, we'd love to hear your reaction from that game. FA Cup, Colchester United falling at the first hurdle, 3-2 to League 1 Shrewsbury Town. You certainly put up a good fight towards the end. Shame there wasn't a few more minutes to go. You never know, as David Gregory quite rightly said, it's not over till it's over. But unfortunately, that whistle came and Colchester United are out of the FA Cup. I'd love to hear your reaction. As Neil said, all the contact details are there. 81333 on the text. Start your message with the word Essex. 08000 321 333 on the WhatsApps. Again, start your message with the word Essex. You can get in touch with us on the emails, essex.sport@bbc.co.uk, or on the socials @BBC Essex Sport. Alternatively, if you want to call up and have a chat with me as well about it, don't forget the number 0800 111 40 41. We would love to hear your reaction on that result in the FA Cup for your side today, U's fans. Well, let's get the final details, shall we, from our non-league games. And Nick Gallagher has been watching Averley against Western Supermare for us.
And in the end, in the National South, it was a regulation 2-0 victory for a side that are in second spot in the division, but it was poor in the first half. Averley really struggled. They were scrappy, they were shaky, they disappointed the 353 in attendance up until the 40th minute mark, when a long throw-in was flicked on by Jones, Kelly got the cross, and then Sidney Ibe on his debut, having signed this morning on loan from Dagenham Redbridge, converted from close range. The second sealed the deal early in the second period. Another long throw in by Ring on a Lucy knocked back, and there was Vaz with his headband on from an early challenge where he had a clash of heads, but he didn't make any mistake from 20 yards. There was 1 or 2 goal line clearances for Averley as we progressed towards the full-time whistle, but Danny Scopes' side held out. They